Okay, the new brake adjuster back in place have arrived. Expensive little lads then. So we'll fit them. So we'll take out the bolt. These are specific bolts as they have the little square edges on them there. That stops them turning. Okay, so one for each side. I think that's the way they go, isn't it? Five-eighths. We'll leave them loose for adjusting the brakes. That'll remind me. We'll go over to the other side now. Put them on as well. Right. Okay. We have a washer after falling in there. Let's find that. There we go. That's her. That's the job. That means we can start putting back our brakes. Haven't that much done. Keep it nice and loose all the same so we can allow the brakes to centralise. So we're a little bit tight for space this side here with the wheel in the way on the right, but we'll work it. Okay, so we'll put our adjuster back in. She sits in there. So. Might need to put a spring on first, I'd say. Okay, spring on. In there. Now we're looking a lot better. So I'll just give you a look in there. Let's get the torch. It's a bit dark. So that's what these do there. They help centralize them. So that should steady things up nicely. So what I can do now is fit the drum back on that. I'm just going to have a quick look at those lock nuts there and make sure that I'm happy with how tight they are. Make sure they're not too tight. I think they're nice and loose. The worst thing you can do is tighten them too much, because your brakes just will be harder to get them to work, and it'll be even harder for them to release, and they'll probably start wearing down your shoes a lot quicker. So we'll have a quick feel of them and see, are we happy with all. I just turn on the work lamp here since we're a little bit dark. This side of the shed always seems to be a little bit dark. Suppose it's over near the wall. That's lovely. Girling style brake. That is lovely. It's really free. When you push it in, there's just about a couple of thou. Probably a bit more on the top one. It might give him a nip just to bring him in. little bit loose. Better than being tight. Make sure you have them too loose than too tight anyway, whatever you do, if you're going at this job. Okay. I think we'll leave her there. Adjusters back in. So we're ready for our brake drum. All that's there, creased up both sides. Stop the squeaky brake syndrome. We'll get our drum. If you have a leaking axle seal, make sure it's not all oily in there. Okay, so let's see. Grub screw. It's there. So sit into the wheel since it's conveniently spaced. Conveniently placed. This was put on the wrong studs before, and the grub screw threads were blocked up. That probably stopped a bit of old rust forming on them. So what we have now is grub screws that screw in lovely and easy. They're not the most important part, because the wheel is going to be pushed up against this drum. But if you do fit them, make sure at least that you screw them in enough that they're below the surface there of the drum. Otherwise your wheel might end up being a little bit buckled. So let's get the other screwdriver, because the other one's slightly different. There it is. There's no harm maybe just to get, let's get the rubber hammer or something just to give him a tap. Make sure it goes in the whole way so that these don't sit proud. That one's below the surface there now, because when you put the 8 of them nuts on, you tighten in, it could just pull the, could end up pulling the drum inwards, and then you have these sticking out in the way. That's never ideal. Some of these new ones have a really narrow slot in them. Even this screwdriver now is struggling to go in there. So I'll go and look for another screwdriver. Do what you have to do to get them in snugly. There we go. Lovely, both below the surface. So that's excellent. So what we can do now is start doing an adjustment on the brake. We have our adjuster lock. We have our back and plate bracket locked. Should not locked, because it's loosened. I'll turn off that work lamp so we can see what we're doing, not get blinded, or I'll move it over the other side here if we have enough length in the cable. Shine it up here. Okay, so that's a little bit of a help anyway. Okay, so I think I've taken off the brake rods. I have taken off the brake rods to the pedal, okay? So that's a good idea as well. You don't want any of that affecting your adjustment. So they say to tighten them. Some people ask, how do you tighten them? Well, you just tighten them the way you tighten as if they were a bolt or a nut. You don't have to worry about them tightening one way or another. Basically look straight at it and the way as if you were looking at another about clockwise. Okay, so we need our extension. See how that feels now. I want to see these locked. Yes, yeah, that's locked. Give your brake back and make a little tap up and down. Let it find its place where I want it centralised. Perfect because the tractor is on the jack and I don't want to go pulling too much. Ah, Jesus, yeah. We have brakes there anyway. I might try and hitch up the brake rod here to the pedal and just put a bit of pressure on them now as well, so we can get the just to work them a little bit to get them to actually centralise a bit better. A little bit awkward, you need kind of 3 hands to do this. You need 4 hands. Push them. Just to get the clevis pin in. There we go. So what we can do is just work this brake now. Stand on it a few times, that'll help centralise it. Try and turn it again. Without pulling the tractor off the jack. Yeah! Okay. What I might do now as well, I'll just loosen them off a bit. Wherever the 7/16, there we are. Loosen them off 3 turns there, and just give them a turn and see how they feel. Like not to feel massive sort of a tight patch. Sometimes it will and usually will, but it's very hard to rivet them shoes on nice and even, you know. Too tight. I'm gonna have a feel of it first. We're taking our time doing this. Okay, so the tight patch is kind of coming out a little bit. Yeah, tap up and down. Make sure she's good and loose. Work the brakes. Get them to expand a bit more. Now, off the brake rod again. That brake rod probably had the brakes working a little bit as well. Yeah. Okay, that feel. Bit of a tight patch on it there. Still. Probably just take a bit of bedding in, lads. Loose patch. We won't be long bedding then in anyway, but at least we have that lad, that part fitted. Okay. Okay. What I'll do is loosen them off. Click it through till I'm happy with them. I want them dragging a bit, as much as that's going to sound probably crazy. That'll help them bed. That tie patch is just basically, you know, you're riveting on them shoes. One of the rivets just didn't pull as much as should. It's better than going too much and breaking the shoe. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Yes, I'm not going to attach the brake rod on that. I'm going to rebuild the brakes on this side, and I'm going to then return to the other side then and put the rod on, and we can try. The leveling is going to be hard because you need weather. We need to stop raining. These are the broken brackets, they're for them Busker, they're no good. But one thing I will do, and one thing I can do, is just to nip up this lad. Now I think that's centralised fairly well. Like these are, I thought these were 11/16, maybe they're fairly corroded. You know, if you can, tighten them up fairly well, because okay, so that side hopefully is ready for road. Now we're going to mess with this side. Okay, right, how are we looking? We're greased up on the brake rod coming in. We have our adjuster backing plate fitted. Right. We have really nice shimming done. I'm really happy with that. Feels really good. It's a little bit tighter than it was when we got it, but probably it needed a little bit of shimming up because of the way. When I say shimming up, it didn't, it's the opposite. It needed shims taken out, but we didn't take shims out. I cleaned up gaskets, removed gaskets. That pushed the two half shafts together a little bit more, so probably a bit too much together. We put in one shim and it just got perfect. I'm really happy with that. It's actually feels one of the best that I've ever done. So where are we at? We need to start getting this ready for brake parts. Now I'm going to do something here that I should have done up to now. I'm only realising now. So I'm going to actually lower the camera and get it in a little bit closer. A lot of the Ferguson tractors, and even especially the massive Ferguson 35s and 135s, you'll hear that horrible metallic screech when you press the brakes on and when you release them. And that's these lads here, scratching the back of the brake shoes. So what I like to do with them is grease them. Well, if there's a big ball of rust on them, that's just going to be catching them that bit more. So get rid of all of that now. Polish them up. It's going to be in contact with grease now for hopefully a long time. There shouldn't be rust building up. So that's that. Another thing I do, where that lock nut's going to go in the middle there, you have a big flat wash that goes around that. I'm going to polish them up so they're here. They're a bit grimy and old dry grease and all that, and I'd like to clean up there as well so that can slide along there and grease him up. So I'll bring him back, both of them back when we're done. It's going to give them a clean up with the wire brush. Okay, so they're cleaned up. That's where they're going to be sliding, I think, isn't it? Or am I after doing the wrong side? No, I haven't. Okay. So there we go. So what we do is we grease up these here. This will stop your brakes squeaking, unless you like them squeaking. The majority of them I've come across squeak like feck. And what I do then is put it on here, give it a little scratch, and then you see then where the grease needs to go. Put plenty of it on. You can actually see where it's wearing into the shoe, like so. That's a side that she's just going to be catching. Plenty around the whole area there. And of course, most important, plenty around there. So. Okay, put on our shoe, polished up the big wide washer as well, so grease him as well. He's going to be contacted with a lot of grease there anyway. And then fire on your lock nut and just get him started there. That's all you got to do, so that's good. Then the bottom we do the same, bit of grease. Drop the camera a little bit there so we're more facing where we're working. That should be well covered now. That bit done. We have grease on our lads down there as well. So hang her on there. Put in give her a rattle around. You see then where the grease needs to go. Give it a spread around, and that should. I don't care about the squeak in the brakes. It's when, you know, it all just, that and a few other things can just stop them releasing. That's what I'm more worried about, really. I'm not too fussed about the whole, I can put up with listening to squeaks and stuff like that, obviously. Otherwise I wouldn't be sitting in a wicker stool every time I move. The really thing creaks. So it's just one of them things, I suppose. These are, it's a very antiquated, very old school system, braking, girling system, and it's very mechanical, it's very dry, and all of that. So I think if you can do anything at all to improve it. For years they just added a servo to this to make it better. There's no servo on this one. Purely mechanical. That's why I go to such effort. Brake rods and everything there as well, you know, getting them all greased up with new bearings and all, new bushings and all of that, because it really makes a difference. Put your foot in the brakes and things are happening a lot easier, less force, and release them. On with her lock nut. Okay, so one of them is 9/16, so you don't want to know what the size it is. It's not really a half-inch either. Slipping. We'll get a 13 in there if we have to. If the 13 will go on it, I don't know what the fuck size it is. That's over tight there actually, so that's not good. Some people now will level the tractor with a spirit level and all of this, and they'll be tighten these that are perfectly 90 degrees. The way I look at it is, have them loose enough so that when you do press them, they will find their own level. I'm not going to be going to that level now of what would you call it? OCD. Well, not even. It's probably is the best thing to do, but you know, it's a bit much now. Right. So, right, put on the stiff spring first. My boot be this one. Jesus. End up with this fucking tractor coming off the whole jack. I hate having the whole back end of the tractor off the ground. Now it's well and truly jacked. It's just a fair bit of tension in this bio, like. Would be fair having it on 3 wheels if I can. Jesus Christ, that's very in the right hole at all. I think we are. It's very far away from it. I think it was in the wrong hole. I see a mark on the foot. I look back on the video there, because these are, you can fit these to 35 as well, so they probably put extra holes in them. They do put extra holes in the suit. I know 135 it's oh yeah, that's her. Well, one mistake is I didn't pull it forward. Be a bit of an issue now. I should have pulled it forward at the last second to get it over that loop, over the spring. Fuck, whole tractor's coming over. Bastard. I'll cut it if I have to. Yeah, I might just cut that. Be safer. No harm there anyway. Okay, bottom frame won't be an issue. It'll be easier. A quick loop in this. Okay, blue spring isn't as strong. That's the one we went from there. That's it. Okay. Lovely. Right, let's get this brake adjuster on. They're nice and free. One of them's on reverse threads. Okay. Yeah, these often break. It's from from not loosening the nut bolt on them when you're adjusting the brakes. That's what happens. And we said we put this in the outside hole. A little confusing because I said these brake shoes are for covering more than just the Ferguson 20. Lovely. That'll hold that in place for us. Put a little bit of rock in them to make sure that they go on and off easy. So here it's a little bit tighter than I'd like. Now is the time to work that out. Definitely. Let me see. That's better there now, right? The bottom one. Yeah, that shouldn't be getting caught on anyway. Okay. Okay, lovely. How are we looking? How are we looking? Everything's greased up. Springs are on. He's nice and loose. Okay, I'm just going to do another little job on them like I did on the other side. Fear the catch. This could save us a lot of hardship. They didn't catch yet, but they're definitely not going to catch now. Just help them. Let's give them a bit of a leading edge. That should do it. Yeah, okay. Good, good, good. Right, on with the brake drum. This brake drum is nice and dry. If it isn't, give it a wash out. Petrol or whatever you have. Right, so our grub screw hole is there. Okay. There's no grub screw in this. There we go. So I go and have a look for 2 grub screws now. I'm going to fit them. Right, we have some grub screws here. See how these threads are. As I said on the other side, they weren't lined up at all with the grub screw holes, and maybe that stopped them getting rusty. I mightn't be as lucky this time. A little bit paint got in there anyway, so after just making things a little bit harder to screw in, I think. Is it ideal now? You hit it with the Dremel, I think. Will I do that? Gotta hit it with the Dremel. Yeah. A quick rub of the Dremel, I think, should make life easier. Just put the Dremel fitting on the drill. Mightn't do a whole lot now with the paint, it's so hard. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot. But look, we'll try it anyway and see. Still getting fairly tight there. Starts acting the maggot now and slipping and all that, I'm just going to leave it out, because it'll actually end up doing more harm than good. But it seems to be tightening in fairly well there. Once it goes down behind the surface, We're happy. We'll give him a clap of the hammer there. Make sure it's going in. Okay, we'll try another one there. I don't have another new one. I have another good one. Might have to give him a quick rub of wire brush and I'll come back. Right, it's better now. There's an awful lot of hard paint in there. See, that's going nice so far. Just to get him below the surface. That's all we're looking for. The least important part in the rear axle, you asked me, are these two screws. Lovely. Okay. So the same crack now on with 2 wheel nuts. We'll get her centralised. Centralise up those shoes as best we can, tighten them. Centralise back and plate. And we can then try and see if they're pulling roughly the same. And then we'll be able to do a better adjustment on them when it's actually on 4 wheels. So first thing, tighten up the brass 11/16 adjuster. Feel that. Okay. Okay. That's okay. We won't push it away because it kind of wants to fall off the jack a bit. Right, so, okay, we'll give him a tap. Back of the adjuster plate, make sure it's good and loose. It is. Hitch up our brake rod. That is hitched up. So we have to adjust, we have to tighten up our side brake so we can use him to give the brakes, work the brakes. That'll do then. We're going to work this side only. 3/4 is inside, 11/16 is the size. Lift him up. Yeah. Okay. Try and get the spanner off now. Yeah. Okay. Now we can work our brakes. You can see it's actually turning the hub. It's no harm. Okay, we're going to have to tighten up that side brake a bit more. Even that pressing is moving it. And that's just purely down to how tight we get this nut on. No woodruff key around like that. Lovely. Okay, have a feel of that. What way do I say it has on this side? The way it doesn't involve it falling off the jack. Okay, I've got a nice lockdown brake there. Okay, we can tighten up. I want to make sure the brake rod isn't too tight. And it is a bit too tight. That's what I don't like about it. And that could be a few things. What I'll do is I'll tighten up the adjuster, hopefully, and then let off the brakes. Hopefully that loosens that brake rod. That brake rod shouldn't be under tension when the brakes aren't on. Another 5/8, lock him up. We've worked our brakes into what should be the central position there now. By locking them and then pressing the brake drum, pressing the brakes on, that should work that into where it wants to be. Now we can let off our brakes, a few clicks. Hopefully that will relieve the pressure on that brake drum. If it doesn't, what I'll do is I'll get them brake rods the same length both sides. Oh lovely, there's no high spots there at all. That is perfect. A1, lads. I like the feel of that. Let's see it. Okay, I think that's actually all right. So another little thing I like to do, checking here, is to press the main brake pedal, and just to make sure and see that both of these side brakes are lifting roughly the same. It's just something you can do just to check. I'm just going to go and hitch up the brake rod on the other side and I'll come back and do that. Look for it, I've hitched her up down there. See if we can get both of them into view there. If I can hold that there, it mightn't be very steady now. When I push down my brake, I like to see both of them moving the same amount. Just shows that things are good in the hood. Now it is unfortunate we couldn't get this ratchet pawl thing there, the kind of ratchet plate there, the tooted plate, to work with our nice parking brake, because I'd be able to lock that on and then test the brakes, you know, both sides with the bar. But the only way I'm going to be able to do that now is by driving it. So look, it's no massive big deal. I'm still waiting for a lad to get back to me. I'm waiting for a few lads to get back to me. I'm struggling to get that apart. The area for the diesels up to 54, so 53, all the way through 53, and probably some of 54 had a different parking brake setup on them. They only had the little ratchet, they didn't have that extra little clip and the spring, and that involved the tooted plate being shorter, not sticking out as much. So the hole for that little ratchet was further up the pedal, so it needs to be about an inch shorter. And I've come across a few of them, but I can't seem to find the ones that are fitted to this, and in fact to my own one as well. So that's a little bit off, but we'll do our best. If we have to fit the old one back on, our own ratchet back on for the old one, that's probably the best I'm going to do. So yeah, I think what I'll do is put the two wheels back on it. We're finished the back end. Very happy to say that actually, now when you realise it now. I think we're finished. The wiring's out of the way. It used to be gathered up around here. I'd like to make a bracket for this tipping pipe, but it's very long. If it was shorter, I'd definitely, if I'd run it past the owner, you know. But look, so we got rid of the wires, and that's a big improvement straight away. It's a lot cleaner looking when you can't see the wires standing at the back, if you ask me. I like that. We do have to test hydraulics, so I'll put the transfer box on at some point when I'm happier with, you know, getting a few other jobs done, clutch, etc. And then if it's all working well, I can paint that quadrant lever there, no bother at all. Yeah, it looks like the PTO seal was done at some point. I'm very happy with how the brakes went together in the end. Really am now, I'm happy with that. So yeah, I think let's get the wheels back on, and yeah, we'll take it from there. I have a water pump there to fit because I think the bearings are getting a bit noisy in that one there. We got everything else kind of tightened up and the engine sweetened up. That's when you're going to hear the water pump bearings. So wheels back on, I'll do that. There's no point in me recording that, and sure we'll see where we'll go from there. Right, I went ahead, whipped off the radiator to get this water pump out, have the fan off, have the pulley off. Put on a 9/16 socket. Some of these loosened. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 bolts. 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top. Of a UNF. It's not many 9/16 bolts or nuts on the tractor, so important to keep all of these. Looks like our thermostat housing staying nice and dry anyway. She brought to them. I have to see them. You can already bring it. A bit of sweating now getting that right. So there's our alternator bracket. Can't take that bolt out without having the pulley off, so make sure to keep that bolt through the bracket so it reminds us then to put it back on. So this is the last bit of the coolant system that needs attention. Radiator is new, or fairly new, it was a replacement part. So now, let that out. Okay. That's all I'm going to do for tonight. Put a bit of white paper in there, and we'll clean all that down tomorrow. I think that'll be the plan. But in other news, we're back on 4 wheels on the Kerra Ruffo here east, which is great. So we're looking a bit more complete from this end. Happy as I showed there, when you press the main brake pedal now, both the side brake pedals are lifting up, seems to be the same mount. So we'll do a little bit of tinkering with that, try and make sure these brake rods are both the same length at least. And we'll bring it out then when we have it back together, bring it out the driveway, and we'll have a play around with the brakes, get them adjusted, see which way it's pulling, and we'll get that adjusted and sorted. This was the it's actually leaking a little bit there. That's the brass blanking plate that they don't give you when you buy the new thermostat housing. Now, I'll just lift up the camera. It takes a fair amount. I always find it takes a lot of tension on that to actually get the Vecker to seal. So I put a fibre washer underneath because I find, you know, the copper washers just take that little bit too much pressure, tension to seal. So just give it another quick little nip there. It looked like it was staying fairly dry for a long time. Just very slightly leaking there. Oh yeah. That should do it. It's only, I prefer to go about it that way anyway rather than tightening too much. Okay, and our what you call it, thermostat housing otherwise seems to be staying dry. I don't see anything there visibly leaking. So yeah, we'll clean this up with the Dremel tomorrow. We'll put a bit of white paper in there, and if you're actually doing up an engine and you're taking off disc casting, and that's already off. If you're taking off disc casting and you're planning to put the new ones on, that's when I'd actually grind in behind there a bit, and that casting is plenty neat. So that is that. After that, I have a better one of these pipes, so I'll fit that, and we'll have all new hose pipes on. Thermostat in the thermostat housing. There's an aftermarket radiator on it, so it's new, it's not leaking. New fan belt, and we're now going to have a new water pump. So yeah, we should be good to go. So I'll leave it there for tonight, and I'll come back here tomorrow evening, tidy that up, fit a new pump, put it back together, start it, bring it outside. Am I right in saying that? We should be able to, nothing is stopping us, have a play around with the brakes, and yeah, we'll take it from there. So until then, take her handy.